So, I love Halloween. I love the pumpkin carving. I love getting a costume together and all of the candy. But most of all, I love the fear factor. The feeling when you're watching a scary movie and you know something's about to happen, but you cringe in anticipation anyway, or when you're going through a haunted house and it's dark, and all you hear is something in your ear or something tap, like a mile away, and then it's like you turn around and there's like a face, like right there, and you just run like a little girl, and then all these monsters just chase you anyway. It's ridiculous because it's like you're terrified, but like you're having so much fun all at the same time. My question is why? Why do people love to be afraid and love to feel fear? Well, in the spirit of Halloween, I'm going to be clarifying the reasons behind our obsession with fear. I'm going to be discussing the brain functions and psychology behind it, what it is exactly that we enjoy about it, and some of the scariest haunted houses in the U.S. There are many biological and mental factors that cause our reaction to fear. Sabiri Roy, who is a writer on psychology, explains that fear can be a feeling or an emotion. When it is a feeling, it is, a feeling is when something feels uneasy or you feel a sense of danger. And when fear is an emotion, it is in response to a situation. So when you're going into a scary movie or a haunted house, you have an initial feeling of fear because you know that you're going to get scared. But when something scares you, that's when you have the emotion. According to Dr. Christophe Leonard, when you get scared, there is a whole chain reaction through your body and it causes an adrenaline rush. Your adrenal glands, which sit above your kidneys, sends a hormone called epinephrine into your bloodstream, which triggers your fight or flight response. There are neurotransmitters that my pictures work, is that okay?
Didn't come up?
No.
Well, that happens. I'm not sure why.
Okay. There are neurotransmitters that react at the same time, which triggers your fight, or which happen to be the same ones that cause you to react when something funny happens, which is why many times you laugh after you get scared. So what is happening in your body is like an adrenaline rush, and laughing is just uncontrollable. And when you're in a dangerous situation, you could quite possibly react the same way without the laughing, probably. There are a few reasons why we love to be scared. Laughing is actually a reason why we love being scared so much. It gives you the sense of joy and the same feeling that you get when you're watching a comedy. But it's also a great bonding experience because usually when you go to a fright fest or a haunted house or a scary movie, there's a group of people, 4 or 5 at least. And when you're watching a scary movie and you can pinpoint who's going to die first and who's the rational one and who's the one that should be killed but just won't die because, I don't know. Well, your group kind of embodies those characters and they become one of those characters without the dying. And so it just creates a bonding experience. After, you also get a sense of relief and accomplishment that you were able to get through it. Halloween is actually the second biggest grossing holiday after Christmas, and it generates $7 billion a year. A big part of it is because of haunted houses and fright fests. It generates $1 billion a year. And it started in the 1920s, and it started off as charities, and it became commercial in the 1970s and 80s. According to the Haunted House Association, which is a real thing, I googled it, I made sure, there was a list that has the scariest haunted houses in America. The first one is Sylvania, located outside of Dallas, Texas. It is on a farm and is called Verdon Manor, and it is a 2-story haunted house designed by Disney Imagineers and has more props per square foot than any other haunted house in the country. The second one is the House of Horrors in Haunted Catacombs in Buffalo, New York. It has zombies, demons, vampires, psycho killers, and the Walking Dead, and has plenty of special effects, amazing animation, and scary sets. The third is Woods of Terror in Greensboro, North Carolina. It used to just be a short trail, but has developed into 20 acres of pure terror. Number 4 is Scream World in Houston, Texas. It has 3 haunted houses, an outdoor maze, a cemetery, and roaming creatures. Last but not least, the Terror Fest in Columbus, Ohio is a haunted house with 60 monsters and creatures and frightfully decorated sets. Sadly, none of them are in California, but there is one in LA, and it's called Blackout. It's completely dark, except for, like, I think there's, like, a light, and you can see, like, 2 feet in front of you, and you're not allowed to talk. You can scream, and they can, like, touch you, like, from out of nowhere, and it's 30 minutes. And I read some of the reviews online, and there's this one girl, she, like, went on a whole rant about how it, like, scarred her for life, and how, like, she's like, I can't sleep anymore, like, and then there's some people that said they couldn't even get through it, and there's, like, a safe word, I think it's, like, spumoni or something. But yeah, so today I've talked about why and how we get scared, why we love it, and some fun places to go. You now know the reasons behind people's obsession with being scared and feeling fear, and why we continue to voluntarily put ourselves in scary situations. So if you've ever wondered why you get the adrenaline rush or why you cannot stop laughing after being scared, now you understand why.
Your pictures aren't loading. There were pictures and they didn't load.
Yeah, there were pictures and I tested it.
There's 3 other people in this class that are in the psychology class, all learning from them.
Oh, Tony, what did you think?
I liked how she had a nice intention and clear intro. Her speech had a logical structure. It was unfortunate about the illustrations, but the one major critique I had about her speech was she was saying too much like, and the language in the speech felt too casual.
Okay. Which is strange because a lot of it's red also. So
Yeah,
it's a little strange that you've got the likes so frequently and you've got content that you're reading, and I'm sure you didn't write in all of those likes. It's just it's a crutch word. It's a crutch word that people fall into, and I understand that, but it'll be one of those things that you want to pay attention to. Like I said, we're not overemphasizing the delivery thing right now. One of the things you might want to do when you watch your speech back, count the number of times that you use the word. Because you have to become aware that you're doing it before you can shut it off. It was not that complicated for me. I like the opening of the speech pretty well. I think you've got a really good setup. There's a nice organizational structure. It's a little confusing to me how the two things come together. I think that your goal ought to be a little bit more to explain why it is that we like to be frightened at Halloween time and why we enjoy the thrill of a haunted house or something like that. Because it really sounds like two separate speeches. The first is an analysis of fear, and the second is haunted houses. And I can see that you're connecting the two, but I think the problem is the way you phrased your purpose statement. The second part doesn't, the whole thing about haunted houses doesn't really fit that purpose statement. Although the whole reason that you're talking about the stuff earlier is to get to that last part and to make it the payoff for everything that you've set up earlier. Pardon me. I like the fact that you did research on the fear issues. You had good quotes there, good information. The Haunted House Association, I believe it's a real group. It sounds like it's kind of one of those interesting things. How did they decide? How did they do the ranking of the haunted houses? That would be one of those things that you could probably have talked about a little bit. You mentioned the one experience that people talked about here in the Southern California haunted house, and that's an interesting one. Details on it are a little fuzzy, apparently, because you're in the dark and you don't know what's going on, but it sounds creepy as opposed to fearful. I'm going to walk around in the dark and people are going to grab me. Where do I sign up for this job? This is a little weird, You wouldn't want all the perverts out there working for the weekend. That's just a little strange. So there's something odd about